also a great name. Um, Aaron Scott seen wearing Michigan gear at the 7-on-7. Was that actually Michigan gear, or was that the school? I feel like that might have been the school colors, the high school, right?
Well, I don't know. Like, I don't know if it means anything or not. These guys
Yeah.
get a lot of gear, and if I had a ton of Michigan gear and I was going to Ohio State, I might say now's the time to wear the Michigan stuff, because after the end of the month, I'm not going to be able to wear it anymore. Could be
Right.
that. But when I
Could
read
be.
the story about him, I know his high school's got the same colors as Michigan.
Same colors. Yeah.
So, the gloves and the shoes, you can get that. But then, the story I read said that he was wearing a Michigan hat too. So there's no like, hey, this is the colors. You're putting on a Michigan hat.
Michigan hat, yeah.
And I know his dad's birthday is on the same day that he's going to be picking his school. And you know what? If you love Ohio State, Aaron Scott Sr., and your kid's coming to you, you said, hey, Dad, are you going to let? I mean, who's picking? Is it a kid? Is Dad? I mean, what's going on here? So I don't know. If I had to pick, I think that Scott. I wouldn't get my hopes up from a Michigan fan, but it is something to at least monitor. Michigan's got a barbecue at the end of the year. At the end of the month. If he's going to that, I'll feel a little bit better about him, throwing some gloves or, making a smiley face with his hand, with Michigan. I've seen all that. Justin Scott was up there holding a sign about how much he loved Michigan and
right,
blue and those who stay and everything else. And then he went to Ohio State.
Yeah, it can be maybe it's mixed signals. I think you mentioned on your show today. I tried to catch some of it in between client meetings, and I believe you were saying you were thinking like probably like what 85 to 90% probably Ohio State, or 80% Ohio State, 10% Michigan, 10% Oregon. Is that kind of?
That's almost exactly right. I changed it by the end of the show as I talked.
Oh, okay.
Through it. I had it 80% Ohio State, and then 9% Michigan, and I put them at 11% Oregon. So I got Michigan down there. It just seemed like that was the way to go after talking through it. Those are my numbers where I'm at.
Yeah, and I think it's a long shot for sure. I will say that moving the date back from the 4th to the 30th, while I understand that his dad is an Ohio State fan, you're giving Clinkscale and the staff 26 more days to talk to him. Like that's also a side piece of all this, is that that it might have been Ohio State on the 4th, and now Clinkscale is 26 more days, or maybe it's the reverse. Maybe he was a little bit more Michigan and he's giving Ohio State a chance. I'm not really sure, but I just think it's interesting that he pushed it back.
Well, I didn't go out. I'm trusting. This is something you shouldn't do. I'm trusting people on the internet that say, one, that his dad's a big Ohio State fan. That doesn't seem like a big leap. I mean, they live in Ohio. So
right.
That part. But then they're also saying that it's his birthday. I didn't go check to see if Aaron Scott Sr.'s birthday is on July 30th. But, if it is, that makes me think like, the kid's going to Ohio State. But,
right.
That's my thought process on it.
Yeah. So Jason's saying, Oregon was just a fill-in for his top 3. I mean, Oregon is a school that has gotten some QBs and some other players too, including defense. So, I don't. Now some of them have also transferred out. So I'm thinking of specifically Dante Moore, which we were all so upset. Remember, and then he decides to transfer over to UCLA. So yeah, they've had kind of an interesting recruiting history.
Well, you have to remember it, and Jason will know this, and you will too. Like, Scott, if he's thinking between his head and heart, it might be Michigan, Ohio State, but Oregon can make you think with your, your pocketbook.
Right.
They could come in late, make a big offer. They have been known to do that. Yeah, it was interesting how UCLA went over the top and was able to get him there and even outspend, beat Oregon at their own game, which was interesting. But yeah, I mean, that's why Scott, he's smart. If he's, playing between Michigan and Ohio State, and he's keeping a line open for Oregon and saying, I don't know, maybe I'm that's the way to do it. Maybe their offer maybe they'll make one final offer. And it'll be, sometimes it's an offer that's too good to be true.
Get that Phil Knight money going. Who knows?